At this time, we'd like to have a moment of silence to remember the victims of the Santa Fe shooting and the bus accident in Paramus. Thank you. This meeting has been posted and announced in accordance with Chapter 231 of Bill 1975. Mr. Pellegrini, will you call the roll?
Trustee Graziano. Here. Trustee Brown. Here. Trustee Jacko.
Here.
Trustee Lopez.
Here.
Trustee Sheldon. Here. Vice President Ferrera. Here. Madam President.
Here.
The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of this board, except where specifically exempted by law, in which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this Act, the Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the same advertised in the Belleville Times. Also, notice of this meeting has been mailed to the members of the board, the borough clerk, all elementary schools, middle school, the high school, and the district courts.
Thank you, Mr. Pellegrini. I have a motion to approve the minutes from the closed session of April 30, 2018, and May closed in public session, and May 10, 2018, closed in public session. All in favor? Opposed? Student government representative?
Good evening. My name is Andres Masuzaga, and I am the parliamentarian of the VHS Student Government Organization. Here's a recap of what has been happening in our school. Starting with old business, the spring pep rally was held on April 13th in the Belleville Municipal Stadium. The spring sports and athletes were introduced to the student body and encouraged to support the athletes this season. The Mr. and Miss Belleville Scholarship Pageant for the junior class was held in the Connie Francis Theater on April 26th. Participating juniors had the opportunity to dress up and compete on the stage. Friends and family came to show their support for the participants. The winners of this year's pageant was Jenna Chicali and Joe Monroe. On May 1st, SGO organized its second blood drive for the year. 43 points were donated, which equals to serving 129 lives. A $250 scholarship will be given to an SGO officer on behalf of the American Red Cross. On May 8th, Ms. Dominguez and Ms. Holzman held Operation Prom, a prom dress drive for students who were unable to purchase a prom dress. Dresses were donated and 12 students were able to find a dress for Wednesday's prom through this event. On May 15th to 17th, SGO held its annual Deco Wall competition. The sophomore class won with the Stranger Things themed wall. On May 17th, the juniors won the annual battle of the classes. Each grade competed with each other in various tasks that tested their skills and abilities. Moving on to new business. SGO elections will take place tomorrow. Winning officers will be announced on Wednesday. On May 23rd, prom will be held at Menina's in the Park. On May 31st at VHS will host its annual senior barbecue, followed by the SGO's third spring dance that evening for the students to enjoy. The theme for this year will be Aloha. Clubs and organizations will sell food and drinks in order to fundraise money.
Thank you. Items to be done by Administrator Staff.
Thank you, Madam President. Welcome, everyone. Glad the weather is holding up. It's great to see a lot of students, parents, teachers, administrators here this evening. We have a few presentations to begin. First, as always, I'm extremely honored and very proud of the work that our students and our teachers do every day. We've just completed some assessments. We're getting ready for final push into the end of the school year. We have a lot of college acceptances that are on the board, down on the wall outside the guidance suite. So we're very proud of everything that happens here every day. We appreciate your involvement, and parental involvement is very important. So thank you for coming out tonight and for supporting our students and all the initiatives that we have here in the district. I'm going to skip right now 5.2 because it's we have to kind of move things around. So we're going to go to 5.3 with the We Care bags. So just a little background before I call up two of our fine teachers to give a little blurb on this. A few years ago, so Ms. Kelleher unfortunately has been incapacitated the past few weeks. She has an injury, so she's been doing everything via cell phone and Skype and everything. So as we started the charge of the boards, the first board that hired me and then the second and third board so far that I've worked with here in Belleville, one of the missions of the board was to really expand community engagement. I think we've done that. We've added multicultural events, and we started something a few years back called COPE, Community Outreach Program and Education. And basically what that is the district partnering with many profit organizations and other community groups to basically expand the mission of our students here in community service. We do have a community service requirement for graduation now. The board approved several years ago. So this partnership has really extended what we want our students to be as 21st century learners. So it's been really just a great initiative. Several years ago, I was at something from one of my sons, and a woman approached us regarding something that she was doing for oncology patients with regards to putting bags together, sort of some kind of fashion bag, and putting things inside the bags so that if a patient was going through chemotherapy or some kind of treatment, they had everything they needed for that treatment right in that bag, and it was an excellent gesture saying that we care about you, and we know you need some things that we can kind of, step forward as a community and put these into this bag for you when you have a very difficult time going through this illness. We brought this back to the community here, and working with Clara Mas, one of our fantastic partners in this community. Just a great transition over there happening over the last few years. We put together this We Care Bag project where we, as a community, our teachers, our students, donations from local businesses, fill these bags with things that our pediatric and adult oncology patients need at Clara Mas and other venues, whether it's home or whatnot. So we're very proud of this project. I'm extremely excited that our students took to this. We have great students, great ambassadors that really make Belleville shine. So if you'd like to come up, Ms. Forgia, Ms. Leonardo, to come up and maybe give that blurb as we present the bags to our reps from Clara Mas who are here. Thank you.
My name is Jessica LaForgia. Tracy Liara. We are both members of the District Events Committee and Special Education teachers at School 7 and 5. We are speaking tonight on behalf of Diana Kelleher, who unfortunately cannot be with us this evening. Here are a few words she asked with us to share with you before we move on to our repair bag presentation. A wise man once wrote that unity is strength. When there is teamwork and collaboration, wonderful things can be achieved. This quote captures the essence of the relationship that Belleville Public Schools and Clara Mas Medical Center share with one another. We are so very proud and fortunate to call Clara Mas our community partner. And as partners, we have been able to work together on meaningful endeavors such as the one we are here for tonight. Our recently completed We Care Bag project. This project was truly a labor of love for all involved. And by all, we mean the entire Belleville school community and our Belleville community at large. Dr. Tomko's desire to have our BPS family compassionate nature reach beyond the walls of our school buildings and into the community to let those in need of medical attention know how much we care about them was a seedling from which the We Care Bag grew into a reality. With help from our wonderful Clara Mas partners who are here with us this evening, this idea grew into a plan that involved filling bags for pediatric and oncology patients with items that can help make their time in the hospital a little bit more pleasant. We Care Bag items were collected at every school throughout our district. Thanks to the generosity of our Belleville Public Schools family and that our Belleville school community, we collected thousands of items over a 3-week period that we used to fill 300 bags. Pediatric patients will receive bags with coloring books, crayons, and puzzles, water bottles, and specially made surgical casts that were brightly colored patterns that were sewn by our own BHA students. Oncology patients will receive bags filled with crossword puzzles, word search books, adult coloring books, and some water bottles, lip balm, and hand cream, and much more. This We Care Bag project truly exemplifies how teamwork and collaboration can make wonderful things happen. At this time, we would like to ask our Clara Moss partners to join us for the official sharing of our We Care bags. Here with us tonight, we have Tanya Menengo and Laura Pantuscu. So we have flowers for each of them and for the other members of their staff, so if we can pass that along to them. And each of them have a bag. One was oncology and one was for the pediatric patients. So altogether we have 300 of them that we were able to do.
Great.
My name is Tanya Manigo. I'm the Assistant Director of Patient Relations and Volunteer Services, and Laura Pantusco is a Child Life Specialist at Claremont. And I truly wanted to say how touched we were that you thought of all of us, and to have the students involved and the patients at Claremont Medical Center meant so much to us. So thank you again.
Thank you.
I just recently had a patient come in, and their citizens here in Belleville, and the mother was extremely happy because I made her a care bag, and it was for her older son collecting, and he would go to the brother. So it was really just an awesome sight to see it all come close. Thank you very much.
Thank you again. Over 300 bags, just the work that the teachers and students have done, the collections. Thank you, everyone. This is just to put a smile on someone's face means a lot, so excellent job. Okay, I'd like to call up Mr. Rotunda and Ms. Demikoff to present the Essex County Poster Contest winners.
Good evening, everyone. The My Essex County Poster Contest is something that many of our elementary schools promote every year. It's run by Mr. Durkin and several other officials down at the Hall of Records in Newark. And the contest is absolutely spectacular because I think, actually, because our students win every year. We have a student at school number 7 who took honorable mention, and we have one student who truly needs to be recognized because he won first place this year out of 1,077 entries. That is truly something I think we all have to recognize. And I would be remiss if I did not recognize the absolute fantastic teachers in 4th grade. I have 3 of them. Miss Nicodemi, who is here this evening. Miss Nicodemi, would you please give the word? Mrs. Mendez and Miss Banca, because without their solicitation of the poster contest, we would not enter and this would not be possible. So thank you very much. And I hope our students are here this evening. Rodolfo, would you please come up? Once again, Rodolfo won first place in the And our honorable mention winner was Sophia Bustamante. Sophia Bustamante.
Good job. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, and thank you all for being here tonight. A special thank you to our superintendent, Dr. Tomko, and the Board of Education for recognizing students at school number 10. Tonight I have the pleasure of honoring two school number 10 fourth grade students who have been recognized for their participation in the 2017-2018 My Essex County Poster Contest. This first young lady we will be recognizing is truly exceptional. A little more than a year ago, this student barely spoke any English, yet she worked hard and persevered. For her to be here tonight and be recognized as an overall winner of this contest is a wonderful story of determination. I am extremely honored to recognize school number 10 fourth grade student Mia Morales.
Yeah, Mia! Yes, honey!
And for the second year in a row, school number 10 has had a student receive honorable mention for a poster they entered in the contest. This year, it is fourth grade student Aiden Lexamana. School 10 community is very proud of Aiden for his hard work and determination. A special thank you for fourth grade teacher Mrs. Denise Gizzo for inspiring the students to work hard, as well as the entire school 10 staff. So Aiden, please come down right now.
Good job, Aiden.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Congratulations again. Those, you can see those calendars, those poster contests are fantastic. They're around a long time. Mr. Durkin does a great job. So now, I have the honor of recognizing with the board an individual here who, since I've been here, her name has come up so many times with different things that she has done for us here, whether it's EpiPens, getting us money for different grants on different things, constantly keeping us abreast of new things in nursing, just phenomenal. So I was taken aback by the fact that she was honored by New York, the Mayor's Service Award, for her volunteer hours at the 9/11 Memorial Museum, contributing over 100 hours of her own time just to that effort. Tonight we just wanted her to be recognized. She's here this evening. We would like for her to come up with Miss Carenti as well, and Board President Lamparello, Vice President Barrera. We're going to take a picture to put it on our website. Miss Susan Cosarelli, if you come up here. Thank you so much for all the cheers. We'll probably present the next board meeting. We're waiting for the mayor's office to see if they have anything special that they're going to give us to give as a board. However, just as that whole theory into practice, where we ask our kids for the community service, our teachers, exemplified by Ms. Cosarelli, putting her time in. So thank you so much. Thank you for
Dr. Tomko and members of the Board of Education and everybody present, I really thank you all for recognizing my efforts. I have been volunteering at 9/11 for the past 3 years. It kind of came back as wasn't something that I thought about doing. I was always a member of 9/11, and they asked me if I would consider volunteering. So for the last 3 years, I have volunteered. It's really a passion of mine. And for those of you that are not 17 or older, you really just have a memory of what that day was like for so many of us. So I do consider it a privilege to be able to volunteer, and I hope that I can inspire some of you to find your own passion and to start volunteering as well. Thank you very much.
Excuse me. guess it was a month or so ago, Ms. DeFlorio from the high school, sent us a link to a project that the high school students have been doing now for several years. And I didn't have a chance to open it until I got home and actually viewed it with my wife and my oldest daughter. And I was completely overwhelmed and stunned by this project that our students have been doing. And a little taken aback by the fact that I hadn't recognized how great this was before. And I don't want to steal their thunder, but the Memory Project, which I'm sure we'll hear about tonight, and we're going to show that clip that I saw. Just really, really overwhelming for me as an individual who has been in education for so long, who cares about kids like we all do, and that's why we're in it. But to have our students paid forward by just brightening the day of students overseas who are having difficult times, we take those things for granted. It's just an incredible thing. So Mr. Florio, if you'd like to come up here with your group or however you want to do it and introduce this, and then we will sit down a day so when you do the video. Were you planning on doing the video first? Or?
I'll tell them about it.
Okay, then after that we'll leave the day, so the floor is all yours.
First, I would like to thank Dr. Tomko for his honor and award today. These are students from my drawing and painting class, and they've actually created portraits for the Memory Project. And I'll tell you a little bit about the Memory Project because it's a wonderful organization. It's a charitable, nonprofit organization that invites our teachers and their students to create and donate portraits to the youth around the world who have faced substantial challenges such as violence, disasters, extreme poverty, neglect, and the loss of parents. Portraits help the children feel valued and important, to know that many people care about their well-being, and to act as meaningful pieces of personal history in the future. Many of these children have nothing. They've lost parents, they've lost their homes. For our BHS students, this is an opportunity for them to creatively practice kindness and global awareness. Our BHS drawing and painting class received photos of Syrian children and teens from a refugee camp in Jordan. The following students participated: Tia Andrews, Courtney Augusto, Jalen Cadlin, Delilah Durbin, Felipe Galava, Brian Jacino, Tiffany Lazada, Pedro Nieves, Danielle Rodriguez, Dine Singh, Dale Tinema, Nea, Victoria Torres, Emily Ubaldo, and Catherine Taylor. So what you'll see next is a video, and it was actually created by the people that work at the Memory Project as they hand-delivered our portraits to the camp in Florida. Thank you.
start with a big thank you for everyone who took part in this project. What you have done for these children is very special. For these children, there are a lot of donations, financial donations that comes for the facilities and everything else. They're very important, but they lack the special touch that you guys have provided in this project. What you have done, you have shown these children that there are people on the other side of the world that really cares, and that will change their future. What I've seen yesterday is that the love that you sent for them have lit up their hearts, and I saw that on their faces. So, really, thank you for everything that you have done.
These two refugees have suffered a lot, and for them to see their photos and their portraits in such a way just was well accepted. Thank you very much.
هلا هذه الصور اللي توزعت اليوم كانت فرحة لطلابنا. بالوقت اللي احنا بنوزع فيه كل ملفات الصور كان بيتوزع عليهم الفرح والسرور على وجوه طلابنا. الفكرة من المشروع كانت كثير رائعة. في شخص كان بمكان ما عم يفكر بمعاناة طلاب عم يدعمهم معنويا ويسوي لهم الالتزام بأقل الظروف. ومن هون بنحكي إنه بنشكر بهالمشروع وبنشكر كل شخص حاول يسوي الالتزام مع الآخر. ويعطيكم العافية.
يعني الاتحاد الاوروبي يشكر كل القائمين على هذا البرنامج الطيب، يشكر الشعب الامريكي اللي قاعد خرج الرمضان مره ثانيه من ثلاث رسومات من الجو المعارض والطائفات المنتصف الى الجو الاسلامي الى الجو المحبه الى الجو الانسانيه. يشكركم كثر خير وانا مقدم اخوان اصدقائي في ذلك.
Just an incredible project. Thank you again, Mr. Florio. Kids, great job. These are some of the pictures up here. Excellent. We really take a lot of that for granted, so I think every now and again, to be reminded of that by our students in a project this, thank you so much. Very impressive. And just a great cause, so thank you. I also, before closing, I also wanted to mention that we had an Autism Speaks Walk. Mr. Klein, Mr. Vargas, all of our teachers who put that together, our students that were there, our families, raised over $10,000 for autism research. So a round of applause for all everyone who excellent job. And also last month we celebrated, beginning of this month, Teacher Appreciation Week. We should be appreciating our teachers every day. So for the students that are here, you won't realize it now, but as you get older and you get out of college, you get into the real world, quote unquote, you'll think back and appreciate some of the teachers that you had and what they did for you. So turn it back over to you. Progress.
Dr. Tom, we'll move on to the report from Mr. Egan.
Thank you. Just an amazing presentation. The Belleville School District that I first encountered when I first came here is a lot different. I've seen so much improvement under the leadership of Dr. Tomko, as well as the new board. And all I have to say is that progress is being made. With regard to this school year, it's now in the middle of May. All the bills are being paid. There's enough money left over to continue to do repairs. The oversight of the referendum projects is going forward. Contracts have been awarded. We're waiting for the head of school to put the shovel in the ground with the first projects. And the architect was here earlier, just to recap a few things. And basically, it's a 3-year progress, and everything is on time, and so far, we're basically within budget. Thank you. That's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Egan. Dr. Tomko?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I just, before we open up for remarks by citizens for the first session, I just wanted to make a comment on agenda item number 7.9, unrecognized titles. These are current positions that we have. These are not created positions or extra positions, so I just wanted to clarify that before there's a question from the community. Every year, the Human Resources Department, Ms. Dente, who's here this evening, we sit down and we do something called a certificate matrix. So basically, each teacher and administrator's title has to be recognized by their certificate. It's called a matrix report. When I first got here, our matrix report was a little bit awry, and now we're on track. So there are certain titles that are considered unrecognized titles that districts do have positions for, but they need to be recognized by the county superintendent. So a few years ago, the board, through my recommendation, established 3 positions. So what this does is, in turn, has the board now certify through a resolution, which I will then send to the county superintendent, that we are still utilizing these titles and would like them to be considered recognized. So just a quick explanation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tomko. Can I have a motion to open for public participation? Motion by Mr. Barrera, second by Mr. Graziano. All in favor? Opposed? Remarks regarding agenda items that are relevant to the educational system. A participant must sign in and be recognized by the presiding officer and must preface comments by an announcement of his or her name, municipality, and group affiliation if appropriate. The individual called shall proceed with a maximum of 3 minutes. All statements shall be directed to the President of the Board of Education. No participant may address board members individually. Joan Schmidt.
Joan Schmidt, Belleville. 7.8. This must be a new job description. It says confidential secretary for the payroll. But there's no salary on here and there's no job description. How can they do this? Why is this job? Can you explain it to me? Why does the payroll need a confidential secretary?
Through the chair. Basically, the administration, my recommendation now is to create a position, confidential payroll secretary, for the simple fact that I don't think the current job description calls for a person that's in a bargaining unit dealing with confidential material for payroll. So this is not a job posting yet, it's just the creation of a job description. There's no salary attached. Right now it's just a job description. So the board has not posted a position for this yet.
Do they have to make up the salary and then they have to do a...
Yeah, I would find a comparable salary based on experience, based on other districts that do have a confidential payroll position.
Did they ever have this position before?
Here, no, it's always been part of the bargaining unit.
Okay. Now, on 7.17, I see we're going to go to new principal of School 7. What about Ms. Demikoff, who's as the principal there now? Nothing's ever been said about her. Where's she going? She retired? She got a job?
We posted for a director of curriculum instruction position that is open. Ms. Demikoff is asked to transfer for there. She's on the agenda on the thick packet for all the approvals under her transfer to director of curriculum instruction.
Where are those things? We don't see them do it.
It's on the, yes, all that's posted on the board docs. It's been posted. Even it's under the public content section, yes.
The agenda for this, for today?
Yes.
I see it. What number is it? I printed it out at home.
It's under, there's files that are underneath the public content section of the board docs. So.
Let's give it back, found that out yet. I'm still searching to see.
Sorry. I can provide you with a copy for after the meeting. I can get you a copy of that. Do you have?
Yes, I would.
Mr. Pavlini.
In other words, doesn't the board have to, usually we have it on here that someone's being transferred. I haven't seen anything on any of the things.
The teachers that are administrators are transferred in May. It's on the recommendations. The board receives the recommendations prior. It's actually on the formal approval with everyone. So the new positions for next year are listed on that Mr. Paldino just sent me. That's where everyone next year is going to be. So unless there was a change of salary, there wasn't, that's the only thing that would be different. So for example, we have two new principals tonight. They're not on the big packet. They're on their own resolutions because it's their first time in district.
Well, I know the other one was Rotunda retired. That's why that job.
Yes, Ms. Rotunda.
But I was wondering what this one is. Ms. Demikoff, she's still principal there.
Yes, she is until June 30th, yeah.
Yeah, and now, this job, this new job, is this a new position or is she replacing someone?
This right now is one of the positions that we lost a few years ago. When we consolidated 3 positions, if you recall, when we first got here, 3 administrative positions.
Too many changes to keep up
Right. Right. So we were discussing this a little bit during the week with regards to the amount of non-tenured teachers that are now in the district, the amount of evaluations and observations that have to happen under Achieve NJ. We're close to the 1,200 observation evaluation range. So we need to increase our ability to get into those classrooms.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Frantantoni?
Good evening, board members and administrators. First, I'd like to congratulate the students and the teachers who were recognized for their achievements here tonight. Thank them for a good job. Under 7.2, administrative legal pay.
I can't discuss that, Mr. Frantantoni. It's a personal matter.
And also the other one, separation agreement. Is there any financial liability that we taxpayers for this?
I unfortunately can't discuss that either. It's a personal issue. I apologize.
You explained a little bit about the unrecognized job title. Unrecognized by who?
There is it's called a certification matrix, for lack of a better term. That's what it was years ago, and they still keep it. The Department of Education, through the county office, has a list of thousands of titles that you can hold with specific certificates. So for example, if you have a principal certificate, you can be a principal, you can also be a director, you can also be a director of curriculum instruction if you have that one certificate. So for just an example, so those 3 titles are recognized under that one certificate. So if you want to have a title under a specific certificate that's not recognized in the matrix, you can request to have that. So most districts have what they call a dean. A dean is only, believe it or not, it's only recognized right now in private schools or charter schools. However, you can request the county office to recognize the title to assist with administrative duties. So that's one of them. So we're just asking for approval.
Are these 3 positions mandated by the state that every district has these 3 titles?
No.
Well, you know, I applaud volunteering. I've been doing it for 50 years, but we're talking $500,000 or more here on these 3 positions. It's not mandated by the state. These are some of the things where we can save the taxpayers some money. We always hear the state mandate, state mandate, state mandate, state pay. And now these aren't state mandates. Why are we having these positions? We got chief engagement officer, and again, if we want to involve the community, which I go back to the late 60s, as manager of the chain store, we got all the high school students, and we got a big rock and roll contest in this high school auditorium. 4 of the big main groups have been involved with the community and through concerned citizens, through the Elks, through the home and school. My wife and I were for 20 years. These are all people who volunteered to do these things. We applaud when we get involved with the community and home. But these 3 positions, like I said, one of them is 164,000, where I don't see the longevity that's not there. But the 3 that they have really not. Any of you board members who want to consider eliminating some of the paid positions? I guess we have no interest in saving anything for the town. The town serves, the taxpayers serve, and this is the reason I come here and touch with people through my businesses, and they're really hurting out there. And when I see something like this, it's not mandated, but we've got plenty of mandated stuff that I think should be eliminated on the state level, but these are not. So whose idea was to come up with these? I don't understand it. These are cases where we can save some money for the people, and I'm urging them to do it because it not only affects us here in Belleville, our local taxpayers, but then these high salaries, we then contribute to the already unsustainable pension system that the state has. And so the problems with our state taxes and everything, it all comes down to the local level. You are the people who are creating these extreme costs that the taxpayers of New Jersey can't afford any longer. And a lot of them are leaving the state. So I ask you to reconsider these positions.
Sarah Bell.
Good evening. Sarah Urbano, I'm a fellow parent. I just really wanted to praise Ms. DeFlorio and her students for spreading the love for the art. The presentation restored my faith in humanity a little bit, and it was proof that funding for the arts is extremely necessary. Regarding 9-6 and the approval of the BMS Theater Arts Company production of High School Musical, I just want to invite everybody to come out and support these junior high kids, June 1st and 2nd. They've been working very hard under the instruction of Ms. Jamie Conway to present this, and these are the stepping stones that prepare them to put on such amazing performances as we saw with the high school and in the Heights. So I really encourage everybody to come out and support them for that. Thank you.
Arlene Shore.
Mrs. DeFlorio, thank you to you and your students for caring so much, and also for your generating your desire to be involved in aesthetic and caring and everything. I just have some minor questions which are just perplexing. It seems that we have a principal at school 3 who is a 12-month principal as opposed to a 3-month principal, 10-month principal. All the other principals on the elementary level are 10 months. I don't know why that person is 12 as opposed to 10. And if someone else was assigned to school 3 in the future, would that remain a 12-month position as opposed to a 10? The other thing that I find perplexing is the middle school principal is a 10-month. It's not. It was an error.
My apologies, there was an error in that when we reviewed it. So the new posting has been addended.
So middle school.
Yeah, it's 12 months, yes.
Okay, because I had concerns about that. You have someone listed as an assistant principal by the name of Mr. Merrick, who's listed on your, that's a typo?
Yes.
Because it's listed
As principal.
As principal. The other thing is Mr. Palladino is listed as an assistant business administrator, and I believe that currently he is the business administrator.
Correct.
So I have to bring that up because certainly at other meetings that he's been at, questions have been asked, Mr. Palladino has been prompt and professionally giving information and answers to questions, and it seems that when data is needed, that he's providing it to you and to the public. So it's not up to me, but I certainly I find it interesting since he seems, I'm not Mr. Belleville, he seems to be doing the job. To put front office people in as in staff evaluation, I can understand that when there's when we're confirming a non-tenure to a tenure. Sometimes we need front office confirmation that those who have been doing the evaluation on the non-tenure, it has gotten to that point, and it'll go on too long. However, on an elementary level, unless we have a dearth of non-tenures, certainly most of our elementary levels, except for possibly 8, the number of our classrooms, those staff evaluations are not overwhelming. Therefore, to send someone in, whether it be our director of curriculum K-12 or our director of elementary ed, it's in most of our situations on the elementary level, it really isn't needed. And between your middle school administrators, they should be able to handle that, considering the model that's being served. I can understand the problem on the high school level, because certainly a principal and the number of meetings you have, I don't think we're covered. Thank you very much.
I have a motion to close public participation. All in favor? Opposed? Next resolution. Do you have a motion on personnel? Okay. A motion on personnel. It's going to be 1 through 10, 12 through 18, and 20. Okay, so I need a motion on 1 through 10, 12 through 18, and 20. A second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, just a couple of words. I just want to state in advance that while I intend to fully support the appointment of Mr. Belton and Mr. Abraham as our new principals for School 7 and School Number 5, respectively, when I did my analysis of the district's staff and salary listing, I noticed that with the inclusion of our 2 new principals, we now have 22 staff members who are listed as administrators. What has me just a little bit concerned is the representation or lack of representation on the part of women. Only 6 of the 22 administrators in the district are women. And I'm not casting any aspersions here, but I would ask in the future to make a more determined effort to get more women in senior leadership positions. I think it would better reflect on our district, our community, and our school system overall. I think my years of experience when I was at Stevens Institute, I worked actively with the Office of Women's Program. I was also a member of a national organization to advance women in engineering and the sciences. So this is an issue that I'm particularly sensitive to. So I ask that Dr. Conco try to augment the number of women in senior leadership positions down the road. And just to follow up on what Mr. Frantantoni mentioned, I've been on the board for a relatively short period of time. I've asked for if there was any way to consolidate some of the administrative positions, but as I learn more about the vagaries and complexities of school administration, I've been told that it really is necessary to have these positions. It's not that we're ignoring any opportunity to consolidate, but things are the way they are, and there's really very little wiggle room to reduce the number of administrators, unfortunately. At least that is the answers I have been given at this point. But I'll continue to work on it and see if there's any way to consolidate 1 or 2 positions in the years to come. Thank you.
Madam President, I'd like to ask for a rationale with regard to these positions that one of the members of our audience brought into question, but also just if the superintendent could share with us the rationale and the need for these positions to whatever degree is permissible by law.
Which number? I'm sorry, the 3 additional ones?
Right.
Oh, do you just need to, hold on one second. I'm sorry, give me 1 second, I just want to make sure I'm on the right. Oh, I recognize those, yes. Okay, thank you, Ms. Lopez. So basically, when I first arrived here, we were, Mr. Egan had to make some hard decisions with the board at the time regarding some cuts in order to get us into that, out of that deficit number. And the administration took a major hit with regards to losing assistant superintendent, a few directors, and then even with my arrival here, we also consolidated a building. So we have 1 principal for 2 buildings. So basically, we rearranged some of the administrative team in order to take on more responsibilities through different titles, for example, director of operations, etc., so that we can write a job description to consolidate some of those areas, which is allowable. So for example, as an assistant principal, usually assist the superintendent with regard to professional development. That's what a chief talent officer does now. So instead of a separate position, we've consolidated a few different positions into 1 or 2 different roles. The dean of students is a teacher-oriented position that basically assists the administration, acts as a liaison throughout the day, and it's very common. Again, all of these things were from consolidations that were made to budget lines or through programs. So again, these are all necessary positions. We are nearing the 1,200 mark for observations and evaluations, which is a lot considering that when I first started as an administrator, you would go into a classroom, you do an observation, then you sit down and speak to the teacher about it. Now with the Achieve NJ, there's pre-conferences that are mandated, post-conferences that are mandated, there's evidentiary pieces and feedback that you can deal with, so there's a lot more time that's part of statute. So there's a lot more to do, so that's why some of those other areas are important, but basically those are the reasons why those unrecognized titles are important. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Palladino.
Trustee Graziano.
Yes.
Trustee Garland.
Yes.
Trustee Jacko.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Sheldon. Vice President Pereira.
Yes.
Madam President.
Yes. Can I have a motion on 11?
Motion.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Palladino.
Trustee Graziano.
I recuse myself.
Trustee Garland.
Yes.
Trustee Jacko.
No.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Sheldon.
Yes.
Vice President Pereira.
Yes.
Madam President.
Yes.
Motion.
I have a motion on 19. Any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Palladino.
Trustee Graziano.
I recuse myself from item 91, 92, 246, but yes to the rest.
Trustee Garland. Trustee Jacko.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Sheldon. Vice President Pereira.
Yes.
And Madam President.
Yes. Can I have a motion on curriculum and instruction?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Palladino.
Trustee Graziano.
Yes.
Trustee Garland.
Yes.
Trustee Jacko.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Sheldon. Vice President Pereira.
Yes.
Madam President.
Yes. Can I have a motion on board action policy number 2?
Motion.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Palladino.
Trustee Graziano.
Yes.
Trustee Garland.
Yes.
Trustee Jacko.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Sheldon. Vice President Pereira.
Yes.
Madam President.
Yes. Can I have a motion on board action board policy number 1? Any discussion? Mr. Palladino?
Trustee Graziano.
Yes.
Trustee Garland.
Yes.
Trustee Jacko.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Sheldon. Vice President Pereira.
Yes.
Madam President.
Yes. Can I have a motion on purchasing and business services, number 1?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Palladino?
Trustee Graziano.
Yes.
Trustee Garland.
Yes.
Trustee Jacko.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Sheldon. Vice President Pereira.
Yes.
Madam President.
Yes. Can I have a motion on finance, 1 through 9?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to point out, if those of you who may not have had a chance to look at the list of bills, which we are now making available to the public since the beginning of the year through Board Docs, this month represents the first time, hip hip hooray, we're not sending a check to Schwartz Adelstein. So I'm relieved or happy to announce that the days of Schwartz Adelstein are finally coming to an end. And our new law firm, by the way, is charging us less than 1/3 of what Schwartz Adelstein will be billing us. So, congratulations all around.
Congratulations. Good.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Palladino?
Trustee Graziano.
I recuse myself from all payroll-related checks, but yes to the rest.
Trustee Groman.
I just have to say, this is my first time voting yes in this building. Yes.
Trustee Jacko.
Yes, except to check number 006771.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Yes to all except check number 006771.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Sheldon. Yes. Vice President Pereira. Yes. Madam President.
Yes. I have a motion to open for public participation.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Remarks regarding any item and issue that are relevant to the educational system. Participant must sign and should be recognized by the presiding officer and must preface comments by announcing the person's name, municipality, and affiliation if appropriate. The individual called shall proceed with a maximum of 5 minutes. All statements shall be directed to the President of the Board of Education. No participant may address board members individually. Charlie Moran?
Charlie Moran, I'm a teacher at number 10 school. I came to work the other morning and noticed there's a gigantic trailer in our parking lot again. Unfortunately, this town kind of runs on a rumor mill. There's some proof or fact that the trailer's going to have something to do with the busing. So my question is just a simple yes or no. Are the district buses going to be parked in our blacktop area behind the school?
Yes, the answer is yes.
Okay.
Mr. Frank Antoni?
I'd first like to thank Mr. Henry for the fine job him and his crew did on the Home Street side of the middle school with benches and shrubs. A real nice project. They did it in relatively small amount of time. I pass there every day. And it's a good job. Thank you. In regards to buses, latest practice, we seem to get more and more bus traffic. A couple of years ago, I recommended to this board that every morning, our chief, whoever's handling the bus, give a little pep talk to these bus drivers that they're handling precious cargo and to obey the speed limit. I don't know who drives the bus, but in the morning, down my street, down Prospect Avenue, going north, there's a sharp bend in the road in the hill. And that bus goes pretty fast. Last fall, my wife and I were heading up 15 north, the interstate part of it. We were doing almost 70 miles an hour with the rest of the traffic, and the school bus goes flying past us. It was a private school bus, there was a number, my wife immediately called me and made a complaint to it. But we've got it every day. Every day we've got to remind the bus drivers of what they're holding, you know, our precious kids, and we've got to avoid these kind of things. Also, the teacher brought up, one of the American Rollman at the planning board asked for approval to park the bus at school number 10. I continue to pressure this board. I mean, we're spending $74 million on the board ordinance. We got a $68 million budget. Take back the school number 1 property. You have the power of eminent domain. I gave you the statute number. That person bought that property for only $1 million. In the contract, The town had to demolish the building, the town had to move the tanks, the town had to remediate the land, the town spent between $500,000 and $600,000 of that $1 million. So I think you got a good attorney. I think you can get that property back for $1 million, what he paid for it. It's languished now for 4, maybe 5 years. He got approval to build 60 apartments way back then. He never built them. We need that property, and you have the power to eminent domain for school purposes. And here we have an excellent purpose. We've got some place to park our school buses. Where do we park our trailers? Where do we put our skip? We need some land. And whatever money we're going to pay for it, we're going to save because we will be rent. We've been paying, I think, $35,000 to $38,000 down there in Bella Vista. That kind of money we could save. So, don't delay it. You've got to move fast. We're paying tons of taxes, some which I don't agree on. Here's something, I'm not against spending money for the right purpose. This is the right purpose. That's an entire city block. And if any of these residential developments ever materialize, we're going to need another school, and we're going to need more property. And then what are you going to do? Eminent domain to take people's private homes or businesses? This is an empty, I can't tell you strong enough, this is an empty piece of land. An empty city block that the prior Board of Education and the council were in cahoots. The Board of Education at that time, and I hate the word used to corrupt, but they were sure incompetent to give to the town for $1. $1, he gave an entire city block and a beautiful building. I took pictures of it. Inside you had terrazzo floors for $1 so that the council can then give it to a developer. Please do the right thing for the taxpayers and take back this process. And when you park those school buses, another thing that came up at the planning board meeting, are you contemplating having some kind of drive-through where Mr. Grollman, I don't know if it was correct, he said you're going to allow parents to drive into the school, 10 parking lot, drop off their kids, and then come back out? I urge you to consider that very carefully. You could be creating chaos in there, and these kids, when they get out of the car, they just run all over somebody that hurt. Years ago, I made a suggestion, I forget the name of the street in the back there, is to put a fence and make entrance on Belleville Avenue and go out the back street, straight out, with a fence separating the kids. That might be an option. But to go in there, drop off kids, and make a U-turn and come out, I think is going to create some problems. And finally, back to those 3 unrecognized positions, you answered Ms. Lopez, Dr. Tomko, that you consolidate positions. That's why you created those 3 jobs. Did you eliminate any salaries in this consolidation process? What salaries did you eliminate?
When this first happened, you had the assistant superintendent salary that was eliminated. So that was one. There were several directors too, and the 1 principal salary. That's 4 I can think of right now as you ask me.
Yeah, but beyond these 3 positions, we have a lot more administrators. I mean, at the last count, one of the handouts you hand out, I think we got between 25 and 28 administrators.
Well, again, I understand that there's always a spotlight on management. I understand that, and I do understand that our former contracts are very good contracts for administrators working in the district, money-wise, salary-wise. But I can assure you and the community that there are these job descriptions are fulfilled by individuals that are working on different things that we need for this district to move the district forward that we've been lacking for a long time. So there's no fluff in this administrative team. There's nothing that's not being utilized. Again, we have over 1,200 observations and evals that we have to do, which come over a 3 or 4 day period. So in light of doing all those other things that we as teachers to do, mandated, like, new textbook series or whatever. Those are same things that we have to learn as well. So there's a lot of things that we're doing here that maybe weren't happening in the past, but these positions are filled with individuals that are working day to day on operations to make our students and our teachers more successful.
Once again, a lot of these things were being done in the past by volunteers. And now it's being tons of money. So please, don't, I hate to keep coming back and redundant about the school number 1 property. Please, let's just nod your head in agreement with me and not do anything. Let's move on it this week. Move to take back that property, please.
Ron Schmidt? Sarah Vaughn?
Again, Sarah Romano. I try to bring the sugar at the meetings. There's going to be a little spice tonight, just so you know. But first, thank you for sending home the technology and internet access survey, because we had spoken about that being a concern with all the Chromebooks going home. So I'm really pleased to see that the board is considering the needs of our families here. I really want to applaud Ms. Dominguez and Operation Prom Dress. Some of the students who had volunteered felt very rewarded by helping out their peers pick out the perfect prom dress. And I'm just, once again, so happy to see our community coming together, for the benefit of the community. Really, really pleased about that. So we had a really successful multicultural day despite the rain. It was really terrific. And I just want to say, I know we're not supposed to direct comments at anybody, but I was so thrilled to see that Dr. Tom Kirk brought his kids to an event at a school where they don't attend. And that just really shows that, people repping our school really do care, and I really appreciate that. Truly. So I want to bring up a couple things. So for those of you who don't know, I've been bringing up the issue of my request to have school lunch served on single session days in the elementary school all the way up to high school. And there has been talk with, I would just like to know, has that been addressed? Is this something that's in the work for the new school year? Because lunch ladies are talking. So this is going to happen. Yes. I love you guys. Thank you for listening and seeing the sense. I really do appreciate that. So there's been an issue in the junior high where there was an absent math teacher. And then there were some subs, and then there were new subs. And the students in this class suffered so severely that they couldn't complete their math section on the park because they were so ill prepared due to the fact that they went through so many substitute teachers. I've not been in your position where I've had to manage subs and find long-term people who are qualified. And I understand that it's very difficult to kind of fix things on the fly, especially if you have a teacher go out unexpectedly. But we understand that funding we get is based on how these kids perform, whether or not I agree with that. And the fact that these kids who are already stressed out about having to take this test felt ill-prepared because they were going through substitute teachers, like a baby goes through diapers. I just wanted to share that. Thank you for listening to that, but we're not done. So I second Mr. Egan's comments about Belleville's progress. I grew up in this town. I graduated from Belleville High in 2000, and the Belleville that exists today is more unified than the Belleville I grew up in. And as many of you know, Buccaneer family had lost their home in a fire recently, and I just, thanks to social media, word of this tragedy spread, and our community really came together to support this family with many things. And our very own Councilman Cosarelli, they're now able to rent his house right across from this school. So people come together because they care about this town. We're invested in this community. That's why we come to these meetings, and we thank you for listening. So it's time for our Belleville family to rally again to support the Belleville High School Library Media Specialist, Erin Chamberlain, who I guess has not been invited back for the upcoming school year. And this would be her 10th year. Ms. Chamberlain is a Belleville alumna, for those of you who don't know. And she has selflessly spent countless hours beyond what her job entails. to enrich the lives of our Buccaneers, most notably with the Mr. and Miss Belleville scholarship pageant and with the school musicals. I want the board to know how disappointed I am that such a person who has not had any disciplinary issues, who it just does not make sense that this person is not being invited back, has not been rehired for the upcoming school year. If I spoke misinformed, I apologize, but I would like to ask the board if they're able to confirm that she's not been invited to return, and if there's any comment we can give on that. Thank you.
Awesome. We're allowed to speak on personnel. Thank you. Ms. Belleville?
Hello everyone. I'd like to speak today about all the teachers we've heard. I've heard of 4 that won't be invited back next year. And I'd like to start with Miss Erin Chamberlain. The reason I get to wear this is because of her. Is because of the time and effort she put into this pageant. Now, Mr. Paultano retired, unfortunately. Retired this year, and so now the only person in charge of me and Joe, Mr. Belleville, is Miss Erin Chamberlain. And she didn't receive anything for doing the pageant. She just came to every practice. She stayed till 11:30 at night when she didn't have to. And she gave students the opportunity to win this scholarship. Now, everybody thinks scholarship is about money. That's not what she drilled into our heads. What she drilled into our heads were that you guys are going to become a family, and we surely did become a family. And we learned from the experience, from the interviews, from on stage, backstage. After, we learned more from the pageant and rehearsals than the actual night, because that was the time we got to spend with her, and to every person that put time and effort into this pageant. So when I found out that she won't be invited next year, it truly broke my heart, because she did nothing wrong all year. There were no disciplinary comments about her, no negative talk about her. She's a librarian at the middle school, at the high school, and she does so much for her students. I've never seen a librarian in my life that does that much. And I've been in 3 different schools in 2 different countries. And I've never seen a librarian do that much. She didn't have to do the pageant, and she did. Next, there's Miss Reyes. She's the cosmetology teacher. You have 17, 18-year-olds getting out of high school with a permit to work, to cut hair, to do nails, to do their dream job right out of high school. I mean, that's huge. There's Cosmo students here today. You know, if I was interested in Cosmo, I would have never dreamt that students would be able to do that. But because of Miss Reyes, that's possible. And when I found out that she's going to be invited next year, I'm like, well, okay, let her not invite her, but there's no one that's going to fill her position. She's given so much to students. And then Mr. Caniglio teaches mass communications. I mean, I spent 1 period in that classroom just because I wanted to see what mass comm is about and everything. He blew my mind. He certainly blew my mind. I've talked to pretty much all of his students, and they said that he's the best teacher they've ever had, because he puts his students first, just like Miss Chamberlain does, just like Miss Reyes does. See, and then the 4th teacher would be Miss Megan Leonard. I mean, she just screams Belleville. She bleeds blue and gold, just like Miss Chamberlain, who's been here all her life. And I know that this isn't about who's been in Belleville the longest and whatever, because here I am, I came freshman year. That's not the point. The point is the effort you put into when you come into the community. And Miss Leonard, she started the Special Olympics. These kids they don't have the opportunity, they didn't have the opportunity to compete in anything else. Miss Megan Leonard gave them that opportunity. They compete in track, they compete in basketball, they compete in every single game you could think of. And when they come home in that medal showing their mom and dad, they're happy because they're a part of something. And that's what Velvet's all about, including people. It's not about exclusion. And these 4 teachers, I can tell you for a fact, they've done more than what their job description says. I bet they threw that job description out in their mind because they're like, you know what, this just says, okay, curriculum, teach that, get that done by the year, prepare lesson plans, but they have it all in their head. All of these 4 teachers put their students first. I didn't have to have this, and I do. This is called a privilege, not a right. And I have it as Ms. Chamberlain. I have it because all the support from all these 4 teachers to get this, to get the crown. And to be honest, it does not mean nearly as much without these 4 teachers, without Ms. Chamberlain who got me there, who walked me there, who fed me everything with a spoon, to get this privilege, to serve this community, to serve Belleville, even though I just came to this country freshman year. And again, I know it's not about how long the teacher stayed, but it's about how the teacher impacted. They don't look at job description. What they look at is that, you know what, I have to be a mother and father first. That's what I have to be for my students, a mother and father first. And that's exactly what these teachers do. Thank you.
And I'm speaking on behalf of Belleville Cosmetology. The Cosmetology Department in the past week became aware of the possible termination of our teacher, Ms. Stephanie Reyes. I'm now a senior, so I've spent a large chunk of my time in the salon here at Belleville High School. Not only has this cosmetology program offered me a lot of insight into the real world and given me a lot of possibilities in the future. This past weekend I did take my licensing exam, so it's very exciting for all of us cosmetology students. So we're all awaiting those results. But I'd like to take the time to bring to the board's attention the fact that not only has Ms. Reyes volunteered her time at every Belleville event since she began teaching here, she's become a role model for the guys and girls of the cosmetology department. She's joined along for Claire Moss volunteering, which we do every other Thursday. And that has also brought us a lot of joy. We were on Classroom Close-Up, so that was also on TV. I'm sure a lot of you must have watched it. As I know I'm graduating soon, I hope that I can continue seeing cosmetology put in the time and effort to better our community with the help of our wonderful teachers, Ms. Reyes. Ms. Reyes did replace our old cosmetology teacher who was improperly licensed, and that is why he had to stop working with the cosmetology department. But not only did she fill his place with colorful hands-on learning, she took great pride in the opportunities she was given at BHS. She made sure all her students grasped the material they were being taught, and she made it fun for all of us. And in the 2 years that she's been here, she's given cosmetology students the chance to thrive both academically and socially. She's become our confidant when times got tough, and she has become our tutor for all of our math problems, which I'm sure all the cosmetology students behind me can attest to. She's become someone who I'm proud to say that I look up to, and I ask that you please rethink your decision of letting her go. Even though I'm a senior and I won't be here next year, I hope that all the cosmetology students get to enjoy having her as a teacher the same way I did. Sorry. I also would like to point out that not only will her termination cause a great upset to the entire cosmetology department, but it will also create a great rift in our learning. It will take time away from focusing on state testing and obtaining our license when a new teacher has to be trained. I'd also like to point out that it does take 2 cosmetology teachers to run our program, so firing her would mean the rehiring of another cosmetology teacher due to the classes overlapping. So I stand here begging you guys to rethink the choices that have been made for someone who is so crucial to so many students here at BHS. We're the ones that have to sit in the classroom. We're the ones who deal with our teachers every day, 5 days a week, about 10 months a year. So I ask that you guys take into consideration what we have to say on this matter, as we are the students that are greatly affected by it. And as I said earlier in the meeting, when we get to the quote-unquote real world, we'll think back and be extremely grateful for our teachers. I'd like to bring it to the attention that not only are we extremely grateful for our teacher like Ms. Reyes today, but we're forever grateful for all the knowledge that she has given to us already. And I hope that she is given an opportunity to continue to bestow this information on the future of all cosmetology students here at Belleville High School. I'd also like to point out, or I'd like to ask, actually, what will be happening with Special Olympics next year now that Ms. Leonard isn't being given the chance to return?
Okay, so clear the comment about the program will remain.
And who will be taking her position? Because she was the one that dealt with all the hassle, all the paperwork and everything.
Right, well, the program was established prior to her being here, so, I mean, so I'm sure we'll find someone to take the program.
Is there any opportunity for them to be rehired? Is there any opportunity that this decision to be rethought?
The board does have an opportunity. There's a regulation that controls this. If the employee avails themselves to their legal rights, the board will have an opportunity to consider the decision.
Thank you guys for your time.
Good evening. I came to join Alex, and I may not have spent as much time with Ms. Reyes like some of the other juniors have, but I also wanted to speak on behalf of the firing of her. And I just wanted to say that I may not have had her as long as they did, but I feel that I've been sculpted more than any of my teachers have. And Alex is right. She has had a great time with us, and she always puts us first and makes sure that we understand her and understand what she's teaching us. And not only does she teach us the curriculum, everything we need to know to become cosmetologists and to move on after high school to become, professionals and have a job, but she also teaches us life skills and everything that we need to know to be people and be able to prosper through life properly. Because not a lot of teachers here in Belleville decide to put us first and teach us the skills that we need. They just work what they have to, and she doesn't do that because she thinks that we should know everything that we have to. And like I said, I have not had her as long as they have, but I feel like I have grown as a person because of her, and I'm sorry, but with all respect, I feel that firing her may have been a mistake because, like I said before, there needs to be 2 teachers in the cosmetology class, and trying to keep up with the program and everything that we've already learned relatively from it. So I just hope that you guys will consider the decision that was made because she is an amazing teacher. What would you mean, Camilla? Enrique Martinez?
Dear board members and fellow parents, my name is Enrique Martinez. I'm speaking on behalf of Ms. Bonnie Johnson. Unfortunately, she cannot be here today, but she is a member of the Football Parents Committee. And this is the letter she wrote that she wanted to share with you. I became informed this past week of the termination of Mr. Mario Caniglia from his teaching position at Belleville High. I don't know if this letter will make any difference at this point, but I could not, in good conscience, not give it a shot. I'm a long life resident of Belleville. I'm a Belleville High School graduate, and I'm a Belleville High School graduate and have had at least one or more of my children in Belleville schools for the past 23 years. I've personally witnessed the good, the bad, and the ugly of Belleville. And if I have to be honest, this is definitely one of the uglier things I've witnessed. I've had the pleasure of Mr. Caniglio being my youngest son's football coach and his teacher. I also got to know Mr. Caniglio better by being a member of the Football Parents Organization. His love and commitment to the children goes without measure. He was so involved in my son's life, both in the classroom and out. There were times that he knew my son was going through things that were not school-related, and he took the time to reach out to him and let him know he was available for him, to help him in any way, or just be an ear to listen. You definitely don't see that as much in today's society, and it was both refreshing and helpful as a single parent. I know that there are many processes that you go through for hiring and letting go of teachers, but I think sometimes we have to be reminded of the basics. Consider this your reminder. We want our children to grow up to be successful, productive members of society. That's important. But it's also important for them to grow up to be compassionate, caring people. They need examples for that. And they definitely had all those examples from Mr. Caniglio. All I ask of you is that you take these thoughts into consideration, and if for some reason your decision remains the same, please know that you are losing one of the best and kind teachers that our children need. Thank you for your time. Sincerely, Ms. Bonnie Johnson. And now, what I have to say. I joined the football program last year, and Coach Caniglio, Mario Caniglio, was one of the best role models, coaches, like I've ever experienced in my life. He not only taught me right from wrong, he taught me how to be a gentleman, respectful to not only my parents, but to everybody I encounter in my life. And I feel like he has that influence on everybody he teaches. And I just feel like with him gone, it'll be a big hit. That's all I gotta say.
This is my second year on the varsity football team for Belleville. And Coach Mario, as a person, he's a great guy. He's done a lot for Belleville and for our program. He's very active in our school. He's had a lot to do with us. And he always makes sure that everything that he does is good for us. Everything he does it to make sure that if it's not benefiting the students, he doesn't do it. He's a great guy in the classroom, he's a great guy in the classroom. We on the football field, he's an outstanding coach, an outstanding person in the classroom, an outstanding teacher. He makes sure he gets through everything, makes learning fun, and he always makes sure that he sets the example so we can be like him. He's always been inspiring to all of us because he always does what's right, and he shows us right from wrong. There's a lot of kids on our team that don't have fathers, unfortunately, and he, in a way, he kind of fills that hole because a lot of kids don't have fathers, so they have no one to go to. When you get no one to turn to, you feel alone. And he always made sure that we knew that there was something there for us, and he always made sure that he would give us the right, because a lot of kids turn to the wrong. Some kids you can't fix, but he has helped a lot of us. And I understand the whole situation with this young. I know we can control the rest. Maybe can, maybe can't. There's certain things that can and can't happen. But I think if he was to leave this school, there would definitely be a big change, and a lot of kids who need help would not receive help. Like I said, he's not just a coach, he's not just a teacher. He's a lot bigger than what you said. He helps all of us make sure that we're on the right path. He teaches us to do the right thing. Simply, it's just holding the door for the one. He teaches us how to jump, and that's something that a lot of teachers forget. To make sure that your students are prepared for daily life, and when you're out of school, you still learn something. I go to class, I'm sorry, I'm not this one teacher. The teacher will come teach and they get out. If he affects them, that guy will sit in his classroom until 4 o'clock to make sure you get something from class, or you get something that you really need. He's a great guy. I mean, like I said, I don't expect the guys to just jump back into it, but I hope that this will be set. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Joseph Rivera. My whole life I've been in Belleville. I played all sports in Belleville pretty much.
But as soon as I entered my freshman year in high school, Belleville High School, Niglio was there. I never grew up with a father. He always made sure that I was taken care of, my grades were good, and I was in class. He always told me to be a gentleman. And to be honest, I'm not trying to say anything bad about the teachers are great and everything, but I didn't think I have a time where I can't think of a time where a teacher sat down with me and just looked at my grades and told me how well I'm doing, or how bad I'm doing, or I need my help. And who gave me my extra help? He saw that some of our football players needed some help with math, and he took his time to look for a tutor for us. A tutor. I don't think I ever had a teacher that looked for a tutor for me. I don't think there was nothing like that. I lived here my whole life. I never had a teacher that did that for me, or a coach that did that for me. And he made sure that we had our grades high. He always made sure that we were great. He's like a father figure to me. And I feel like he's a great teacher, a great coach. And I feel like you should consider the decision so he can stay longer. And I promise you he'll make a big effect to Belleville High. Thank you very much.
Can I have a motion to close public participation? All in favor? Items and market committee reports to be presented by board members. Ms. Joppa.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight and being here. I want to continue to remind the parents, students, and all members of the Belleville community to attend our board meetings because they are informative and important for you to participate with. I wanted to make a couple of comments. School One property back in 2010 was sold by the Board of Education for $1 to the township after alleging that for over 25 years they could not sell that property. I was a witness to that. And about 8 months later, the township purchased that, the township sold that property for $1 million. So I am here listening to you, Mr. Cantantoni. I want to remind people that I'm not against hiring teachers, staff, administrators, etc., but only on the basis of experience, qualifications, and how they empower our students. I mention this because I will be an advocate of this during my 3 years here. I want to thank all of the students present today for voicing their concerns, and it is a testimony that their teachers have done an excellent job teaching them. Thank you.
Can we give her a couple minutes to speak?
My name is Angelica Antonia.
Can I have a motion to reopen public participation?
Motion to open up to public session.
All in favor?
So my name is Angelica Antonia. I am a cosmetology student, and as you heard the other cosmetology students, I am very upset that my teacher has been disinvited from being here next year. But honestly, she has been a best friend to me. She has been there for me when I didn't have anybody else to talk to. She is a great teacher, and she makes a great duo with Miss Constantino. But I also like to address that not only she's a good teacher, but I have a geometry teacher, and she's not really a good geometry teacher. Not to say that she can't speak English properly. She doesn't care if you fail. She never puts in the correct grades for us. But she honestly doesn't care. But Miss Reyes has been the best teacher ever, and I'm sorry if I didn't really say anything good, but she really is the best, and I really hope that you guys can consider her. And please listen to what I have to say about my geometry teacher, because I have complained to my counselor, and I have reached out to other people, but nobody seems to understand me. Thank you.
motion to close public participation.
I would like to speak on behalf of Megan Leonard. First I would like to say that she's an amazing teacher and that she's inspired us to speak out, and this is going to be my point to speak up for her. She's inspired me to be the individual I am today. She has love for her students. She's proud to be from Belleville. She is a part of Special Olympics. I understand that you said that it's an organization that was brought before her, but she took it upon herself to be a part of that. She has brought me into that organization, and she has shown me to give those kids hope, to give them a special place in a home. And that's why I would like her here. I would like her here and for her to teach any class that she desires. Unfortunately, I don't see why she was fired, released. At some point, I don't know if this is the control of you guys or this is control of the state, but why she was released. It couldn't have been over her performance, because her performance to me was great, and I'm not a teacher, I'm a student. And in all of that, she has done her best. In class, to represent this town in Special Olympics, and in everything that she loves to inspire for us to do. So I don't see why such an amazing teacher has to be released. She deserves to be here. Today she is not here, but I'm going to speak for her because she's a teacher that I admire the most. I've gotten to know her. I was her second year teaching when she was in the middle school, and when she was brought up in the high school, there's a whole bunch of kids who admire her. There's a whole bunch of kids who look up to her because of the wonderful person that she is. So I really don't see why she was fired, released. I don't know what the term you guys were, she was given. Because she wasn't given a choice. She was just told that she was released. For what? If it wasn't based off of performance. What was her release for? Can you guys tell me that? You guys can't tell me the reason why she was released?
We're not allowed to speak about personnel in public.
And what about for her? Was she ever given a reason?
You just have the attorney speak to that so that our students can understand the process.
The board respectfully is excluded from commenting on anything about the personnel. I'm sorry, the board is respectfully to you guys excluded from commenting on anything that has to do with personnel. To the extent you're asking any question or even the specifics that you're asking, that's not something we can answer. It's not that people don't want to answer the question, it's that the law prevents them from answering the question.
Thank you.
I'm Olivia Velez. I'd also like to speak on behalf of the cosmetology program. So basically, when me and my classmates discovered that this race would be turning here, we were shy. When me and my classmates found out that this race would be let go, we were shattered because she had become an amazing role model for all of us. And she is one of the reasons that we love to come to school, and we try to be better for us and for her, because she has created such an impact on our lives, not only for teaching us and helping us with our passion for cosmetology. She has helped us in so many ways possible. I believe that in this school, especially with motivation for the students, is a very important component to establishing a very successful performance in a student. And she gives us that motivation to want to learn. And if we had anybody else in her position, I believe that we wouldn't be performing and excelling so well in our work as well as in other classes. With her strategies, she has many interactive, and she makes the class fun for us. And it's, some people, I know definitely some of my classmates, they wouldn't be doing this program if it weren't for her. And, before she took this position, the teacher that was in her place was, like Alexander Hogan said before, wasn't educated to teach cosmetology. Unfortunately, last year, she had to reteach the juniors that are now seniors this year, had to reteach them some of the chapters that he didn't successfully teach. So she had to not only teach the new chapters for junior year, but she also had to teach sophomore year chapters that unfortunately were not educated on, and that were needed in order for this course. So I just believe that this decision should be, rethought, and thank you.
Motion to close public participation.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Back to board member comments, Mr. Rowland.
Okay. I'd like to thank all the students for coming forward and giving us your input. Your input doesn't go unheard, and if I have anything to do with it, none of our programs will be eliminated. We're looking to add programs on. Also, in recent events of bus accident and shooting in Texas, I'd like to thank our safety officers, teachers, custodians, staffs, bus drivers. We have a community where everyone comes together to keep our students safe, which is the most important thing. When you drop a student off at school, you want to make sure they're safe before anything. And our community comes together and does that. And I'd just like to thank everybody and hope that Belleville never has any tragedies. And we're all working as hard as we can to make sure to prevent anything from happening to our students, because that's the most important thing to me up here. God bless our township and may it stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Mr. Shannon?
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to say how impressed I was by the students who came forth, pleading for the board to reconsider any actions against their teachers. It's very clear that these students are very articulate, very eloquent, and it's obvious that our teachers are doing all the right things by our students. I assure you that the board, one way or the other, will take a look into this matter in very short order. You have my word on that. A few other comments I'd like to make tonight. I'd like to congratulate Ms. Florio with the memory project. Just a wonderful thing. As we were watching the video presentation, I couldn't help but think of the famous line from one of the Police songs, "The only hope for me and you is that our enemies love their children too." That these programs are what will eventually bring world peace, not intense militarization build up of armies, etc. It's the type of programs you're spearheading which will eventually bring peace to this world. So congratulate you again for all your efforts. When we convened for closed session, our state monitor, Mr. Egan, informed us that he's going to be with us for the next year. He's been reappointed. So today is pretty much his 4th anniversary, and so he's still there?
No.
He's not, all right. Hopefully, in the following meetings, Mr. Egan hasn't really said too much about OFAC investigations for the last year, but hopefully at the next meeting he'll have some updates at long last for that. Let's see. Mr. Frantantoni, I know the issue of the school-owned property has been a central issue. I've been in the trenches with you all these previous years when we were screaming against the board selling that property to the municipality for $1, and then all the shenanigans with the sell the property to the developer, and nothing seems to happen. I would be all in favor of use of eminent domain, but as you know, there are lots of issues involved. The legalities, the litigation, the inevitable legal battles that would ensue, coupled with the cost of just purchasing that land. But your ideas are very meritorious, and I have already made some inquiries among the board about doing exactly what you have suggested. But your ideas are not falling on deaf ears, believe me. There will be some follow-up on what you're advocating. Let's see, any other comments? Just a final reminder that, I know Ms. Urbano mentioned this at the start, that the high school musical takes place on June 1st and June 2nd. All of these productions are just fantastic things, and if you have the opportunity, I would encourage you to attend. So I think that pretty much covers my thoughts for tonight. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you on June 18th. Thank you.
Mr. Sheldon. Mr. Graziano?
Yes, I too like to thank you all for coming out tonight and sharing your concerns and your support. A lot of you know me, and I don't come back. I don't like to argue, and I don't like to combat myself. But I want to share something with all of you, okay? Because it's been holding in since February 12th, our last meeting, and there was a couple of people in this audience, especially Mr. Frantantoni, that questioned my judgment. And assume my roles as a board trustee. Okay? Mr. Frantantoni assumed all I do up here is read sports scores. Well, if he knew any better, as a trustee, we're supposed to share information monthly on the committee we chair, number one. Number two, when I was a chair of technology, my first term as a trustee, in the first 6 months, I did not approve $200,000 that came in front of us on the technology side because it was not needed. I also looked into consolidated printing costs, but I do nothing up here. I was also part in moving the Chromebook initiative forward for our children, and proud to say we're heading into our 2nd year, but I do nothing. Policy regarding GPS for all the buses that started. I was the one who requested change for fairness, for busing, and also all board vehicles, because we know what happened in the past, okay? But again, I do nothing. Regarding maintenance and the busing contract, I recommended all employees that should have access to all Board of Ed vehicles, buses included, should be tested randomly for drug, alcohol. Again, why? The things I do are for fairness. So, everybody wanted transparency, I give the community transparency. However, you come up to the podium and you assume and you judge, at that time, me, personally. As far as looking in the mirror, which was another big comment that you made in front of everybody, maybe you should. Okay, I remember when we were elected here, you stood at that podium and you said to all us new elected 2 years ago that you're watching us. And that you did. Okay? But at the same time, I watch you. So to the children that are watching, the parents that are watching, 9 times out of 10, when we are congratulating the administration, faculty, congratulating the children, we're supposed to be promoting and we're here behind them. We're Mr. Frantantoni has his head down looking at the agenda. That's what he's doing. What are we going to get him next week? What am I going to get him with next week? Okay, the other thing is, as far as the referendum, Mr. Frantantoni didn't want the referendum for the kids, didn't care for the safety of the children, or the security. Why? I don't know. Selfishness? I honestly don't know why. Furthermore, you mentioned, I'm sorry. Okay, so let me go here now. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna close with this. In closing, regarding Mr. Frantantoni, Belleville does not need people like you bashing the Board of Ed. We need more people to align with us, share our visions, our goals, and positive things that we are doing here in Belleville. There's a lot of parents that come up here and say it. They come with us, they look forward to us, and they work with us. And I think that's what we need more of. We don't need the negativity out there, in here, on being recorded. So remember this. Judging a person does not define who they are. It defines who you are. So from me to you, if you dislike Belleville so much, I am sure there are other towns and states that would love to have you live there. Thank you.
Ms. Lopez? Order in the court.
Okay, I'll make my remarks very brief. First and foremost, I want to congratulate Ms. DeFlorio and her students. That presentation was very moving. I want to commend Ms. DeFlorio, most importantly, for not just teaching our children art, but for teaching them humanity. I think we need a lot more of that in this world, in this town, and I think that you are a model citizen, and I'm so glad to have you on our team. I want to commend our students for taking a stand here this evening. This is probably one of the most exhilarating meetings I've ever attended. As an attorney and as a teacher of law, to see you stand up here just really made my participation on this board all the more worthwhile. You were so passionate and eloquent, and I think that's a real testament to the progress this board has made, this district has made, under the leadership of teachers like Ms. DeFlorio, our superintendent, Dr. Tomko. And that's what we need to focus on, that positivity. And I just want the students to know that we will always operate with your best interest at heart. So know that I'm sure that these decisions are being weighed heavily. There are certain factors that we cannot discuss with students, and that's why I requested that our president make it clear to the students that when we say we cannot answer that question, it's not that we just don't want to and we're being reckless and negligent to your concerns, but that by law we cannot answer those questions. And there are other factors that you may not be privy to, but know that we are a board that will always operate with your best interest at heart, and we will weigh all of the factors and the proper decisions will be made. With regard to our finance committee, there were some scheduling glitches. All of our members could not be present at the meeting, but we did get, so I don't have a formal report as I do every meeting. However, we couldn't meet, but our BA was present over the phone. We were able to call him. We asked certain questions about relevant financial items, and he was quick to provide us with the necessary information, and so that we could make confident decisions at this meeting today. And so I just want to thank our VA for that diligent follow-up. And that concludes my comments for this evening. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. Mr. Guerrero?
Good evening, everyone. Let me echo the sentiments and comments from my fellow trustees. Ms. Belleville, are you aware that I'm very proud. I think you guys did a great job tonight. It takes a lot of courage to stand for what you believe and to represent your teachers and back them up. So we thank you for that. Mr. Florio, it was really touching to sit down there and watch the video. Great job. And it's not the job, it's the lesson and the sentiments that are being taught to our kids. So be very proud of you as well as the children. Thank you. And with that being said, thank you everyone for being here. I look forward to seeing the same participation and presence and maybe more at our next meeting. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Guerrero. Try and wrap it up quickly. First, I wanted to comment on, I don't know if anybody noticed in our religion policy update, the stakeholder committee met for the to update the uniform policy. And I just wanted to mention that part of the stakeholder committee was a bunch of students from the high school, and it was really nice to see them be part of the process. They brought a lot to the table about what they like and what they don't like. And I want to commend them for coming and speaking and, bringing, a policy that they felt was appropriate to the town. I urge everybody to look at it before the second reading so that they can see what it's all about. I got to go to the Poo Tricky Tray and the number 3 Tricky Tray, and I want to thank them for inviting me. Mr. Florio, the artist, I'm always amazed by the art here in Belleville. I mean, I went to the chorus concert. They sing amazingly, they draw amazingly, and tomorrow night I'm probably going to be amazed at how well they play their instruments. We're second to none with art, our shows, and I can't say enough about it. Our art department is absolutely awesome. This weekend, our crew, JV boys, are going to be going to nationals, so keep them in your heads on Saturday and, send them the good vibes. And last but not least, within the next month, we're going to be advertising for a vacancy here on our board. We will send out a notification to let people know that we are accepting applications for that vacancy. The person must be a citizen of the United States, must be 18 years of age to qualify for the office, must be able to read and write, has to be a resident of the municipality, cannot be disqualified as a voter, cannot be disqualified for membership for the conviction of any crimes, and must be registered to vote in the district. And with that, can I have a motion to adjourn? All in favor? Opposed?